Welcome to Hammers Chat live stream as we're going to be going through the latest transfers going on with West Ham United. Now, yesterday we confirmed 2 outgoings as Josh Cullen and Reece Burke joined Bolton on loan for 5 months. So we'll start with there. Tom, we'll start with Burke first. I think we need to break them down into 2 players. Although it was one big transfer, I think you could have a different outlook on both players, really. So we'll start with Burke. Are you disappointed to see him go out on loan, Tom?
Yes, I'm disappointed both of them have gone out, Joe. Yeah, but no, yeah, I'm disappointed Burke's gone out on loan. Yeah, and the fact that you've mentioned, I thought it was for the whole season, but for the fact that you mentioned it's 5 months, half the season, I think that could be a bit. Yeah, maybe. I think that's actually quite clever, actually doing the half a season sort of scenario.
Charlie, what's your thoughts on it? Reece Burke, 5 months to Bolton. He's had an okay pre-season. Do you think are you disappointed not to see him kept on in the first team, or do you understand why Slavin's doing it?
I think out of our 3 young centre backs, he's the one I would put at current ability at their highest, but potential the lowest, if that makes sense. So I really want to see him go out and get as much game time as humanly possible, because let's be honest, he is behind all of our other centre backs in Ogbono, Reed, Fonte, people like that, Collins. He's behind them all. So I want him to go out and get as much playtime as possible, and hopefully the fact it's short means that he's going to get that playtime, because if he doesn't, then we can at least loan him out again in January to someone else.
Tom, he's gone to Bolton, who are sort of relegation candidates in the Championship. Is that the right club to send him to? Because in theory, it should mean he starts every week, or would you like to have seen him gone to sort of a more prestigious Championship club who are maybe challenging at the top of the table?
No, I think Championship, and anyone in the Championship coming from Gio, I think they're going to get them, to be honest with you, because I think Cullen was at League One. I think they've been at the lower league and they're sort of stepping up. It's a part, whatever progression plan they've got, you can see they're starting from lower league and it's working the way up. But for me personally, we're going to get injuries in centre back this season. We're going to get it. You know, our centre backs are all injury prone. Reed, Fonte, Ogbono, all going to pick up injuries, and that's really a time that maybe it's time for him to step into the team as a sub or for injuries. You know, so I'm a bit disappointed he's gone out, mate.
Is this last chance? Well, not last chance, Charlie. Is this sort of a crucial season for Burke, considering he turns 21 next month? Is this sort of you have to make it a Bolton, or we've got a massive decision to come back?
Yeah, his age is the big thing, is that he's getting to the age now where he has to make the impact. He has to start pushing for first-team football at West Ham and making the impact when he does get a chance out on loan. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen for him. Unfortunately, he'll end up dropping down to the Championship or League One or wherever, with all of the players we've seen happen before. I'm relatively happy it's a team like Bolton, who, as you said, are sort of considered relegation candidates, because if he can prove himself, come into a team where there's going to be a hell of a lot of pressure on those centre-backs, and show himself or maybe put in some fantastic performances, then that's going to do a hell of a lot for his credibility. Whereas we saw with someone like Oxford last season, where he was at Reading, hit the ground running, then not going to be used. So hopefully he can really show his class, and with the team he's chosen, it should work for him. And then come back either in January or next pre-season and just continue that flow, continue to improve, continue to get better, because the likes of Collins and Fonte are going to be running out of legs at that point.
Charlie just touched on it there, Tom. Is this where the 5-month loan the 5 month becomes pivotal? He comes back in January. Is this where he sort of starts to take over from Collins a little bit? Collins will be going into his last 5 months of his contract at West Ham. Is it sort of, you put Burke out, take him back, then you sort of ease Collins out the team and try and put Burke into that position?
Yeah, I think so, Gio. I think you're now on the edge. Yeah, that's what we could see happening. But no one's really sort of. I haven't actually heard anything from the club saying why they've actually loaned him out, to be honest. I mean, but yeah, you would hope that would be the case. Yeah, but is 5 months enough? I don't know. Maybe they're going to keep Ginger on at the end of it as a coaching role for him, like a mentor, a bit like who they've got back at the moment is mentoring. Who was a player that played for us, a defender that played for us? Upton, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like him. Maybe they're going to do that with Ginge, and so who knows? I mean, yeah.
What I will say is, though, the news is supposedly that Bilic is keeping Declan Rice in among the first team. He feels that Burke is too old to be sort of getting minutes here and there at West Ham. He needs to be playing first team football somewhere at a competitive level, and that's why he's gone out. But Rice is going to stay next season at West Ham and pick up, if any, minutes next season, and just be happy to sit on the bench because he's slightly younger. Let's talk about the other player that's gone to Bolton now, Josh Cullen. He's also gone for 5 months to the end of December. Charlie, are you sort of thinking the same as Burke, or are you slightly more disappointed or happier to see Cullen go?
I'm more disappointed to see him go, first of all. I wanted him to be, if we weren't going to get in another like defensive-minded centre-back mid, which is what I wanted, then I wanted him to be like the fourth centre mid we had alongside Obiang, Noble, and those lot. So I'm a bit more disappointed to see him go. I also think he was good enough and really wanted to see him push himself as far as possible. So I wanted to see him at a top-level championship side. But again, it's just along the same lines with Burt in that if he can come in and perform, then that's going to do wonders for his credibility. It could do great things for Bolton, and it will mean that he will consistently stay in that side. If he can perform, then he will stay in that side. He won't be anything else. So I'm just happy to see him get the minutes because he deserves it and needs it.
Tom, are you surprised at this move? I think a lot of people were sort of expecting Cullen to be kept around the first team.
Oh, I'm surprised, Joe. I mean, I put a poll out myself asking people because it's a position that we do need like a sort of backup, sort of cover injury and suspension sort of. We do need another central sort of midfielder, and Cullen fitted that. He's done nothing wrong, you know. He's been fantastic in pre-season. He was great last year for Bradford, and so I don't know why they've let out the two of them. He's the one that for me is disappointing to go out. So on that basis, I mean. Yeah, we'd have to get. I think we'd have to get someone in, which is going to put his nose out of joint. I mean, because the person we're going to get in, if it's even for a year loan, I can't see him come back at the end of his 5-month loan. So, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in Cullen, to be honest. Not in him, in the decision to actually loan him out. For me personally, I think he deserves a shot to get into the team. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, Charlie, if Cullen and Burke do well at Bolton, do their value sort of hit maybe even 10 million, if you like, for a championship club in January if they were looking for a player of that caliber?
It'll push up. I mean, if Ashley Fletcher, given the relatively small amount he did last season, is worth 7 million, and then you look at the likes of the top championship players like Britt Sommer, Balonga, and all those people who go for 15 million, that makes sense. It makes sense to be around about that sort of money. But hopefully we see the sense in that and think, well, if he's rated 10 million for that kind of person, we would probably be trying to get those people like we did with Antonio. And so hopefully we have the sense at that point to keep them and maybe integrate them into the team and look at that. But it would be board who I think if they get a decent fee for some people, they will just take it. I would be a little bit concerned they might be tempted to take that, but hopefully it should be okay.
Gio, just sorry, mate, to interrupt. You're right. You made a good point there about the £10 million. Say, for instance, they do well, and then come January, Bolton go, here's £16 million for both them players. Are our ball going to turn that down?
Well, you would hope so, I suppose. But if there were 60 million, it means they've been performing exceedingly well, I suppose. So then that way they should be good enough to come back in January, I suppose. But Tom, if Cullen... Is there more pressure on Cullen and Burke at Bolton? I've got a wee feeling that sort of we're all expecting Cullen to go there and tear the championship up, if you like.
Yeah, I think there was a bit more expectation on him. Yeah, you're right, because in League One at Bradford, he was absolutely fantastic, you know. So it is the next step up. But to be honest with you, I think he can do it in the Premier League. So he should. Yeah, we're all the same. We're disappointed. We're disappointed that he's left West Ham to get a few chances this season. Then yeah, he should tear the Championship up in theory. So yeah, there is a lot of pressure on him really. So he's got to do really well.
Do you think, Tom, this means that given we've only got Noble, Obiang, Kiate as centre midfielders, do you think this means Bilic is looking at Fernandez to be a centre midfielder next season? No, mate, I don't think that. I think we're going to get another central midfielder in. Myself, yeah. By the end of the window, I'd be very surprised we haven't got another, at least a loan in for a year, a good central midfielder loan. So I don't think. Yeah, you could look at Fernandez there. He does play him there, but he plays him off the bench. He plays him, you know, when he has to play him. He doesn't actually. So yeah, I think they're going to get someone in though, Gio. Is there anyone you're hoping for, Tom, or is there anyone in particular you're expecting to come in for that centre midfield position?
I think they're playing the cards close to the chest, Gio. My own personal thing is I think maybe that they could potentially go for Wilshere or or Barkley, but both of them obviously into the last years of their contracts. So it's going to be very interesting how both them players plans out, really, because I think Arsenal, I've heard rumours Arsenal are trying to sign Wilshere up to, and a bit like Jenkinson did with us, I think they're trying to sign him up and then loan him out, because they don't, but they know if they're going to sell him, they've got to sell him for a really cheap price because he's in the last year. And it's the same with Barkley. I think every club's holding the cards close to the chest of him, to be honest. We're not the only ones to be looking at them two players.
Charlie's the talk on a second striker is somewhat lessened in the last couple of weeks. Is there anyone you're hoping to go get? And how crucial do you determine getting the second striker, given that Sakho's now fully fit? Carroll's he's nowhere near being fit, but then Martinez is showing form in pre-season.
I definitely wouldn't call it a priority. I'm really happy that Martinez has started to perform. Because we need a young, promising striker. All of our strikers are they're all relatively getting on, and they're all, well, apart from Hernandez, all injury prone. So we need someone there, and I'm really happy that we have a youth player to sort of push into those ranks. And if Sakho, personally, I would sell Sakho tomorrow. I don't care what the price is. I just want him out of here. But if we are going to if it looks like he's going to stay because no one else will buy him, as long as he's fit and firing, then I wouldn't call it a priority. I'd concentrate on other positions.
And if you did get a second striker, Charlie, who would you like to see come in?
I don't have a preference for name per se. Like Gray, that I'm not too keen on, but I would say I would concentrate on someone who's quick and fast and younger. Someone, like Iniacho, someone who's going to be able to run in between the lines, make runs, outpace defenders, stuff like that, because I think that's the one type of striker we're really missing. Because Hernandez is great at getting into perfect positions and putting the ball in net. Carroll's great at holding people off. He's a massive target man. He can also drop in, and they can both drop in and do play quite well. But I want someone quick and fast, and hopefully if we were to go out and grab someone, although I don't particularly like Gray, someone like Gray.
Tom, it looks more and more likely that Feghouli will be joining Galatasaray with the once a supposed target, Ndiaye or whatever his name is. Do we need another winger to replace him, Tom, or do you think we've still got enough with Ayew, Snodgrass, Antonio Arnautovic, and Lanzini can play there? You could argue Masuaku and Bayram can play on the wings. So would you replace Feghouli, or would you use those wages to bring in a second striker, or even Wilshere, as you mentioned?
I would replace Feghouli, yeah, but I don't think. Going by what you just said, Gio, with the amount of cover we've got there, then maybe they're not. Maybe they just want to free the wage up to get in the central midfielder, which you talked about earlier, or the other striker, which we need. I do think we need as well. So for me personally, a winger. I mean, but they've come out and said it's like for like, haven't they? One in, one out. So if Feghouli goes, they have to get another one in, because that's what they've said. So, mate, if that's not the case anymore, I don't know if it's to free the wage up for centre. I think more than likely it's to free the wage up, though, to get a good quality central midfielder in.
Anyway, if you want to hear my opinion, I'll be live tomorrow night, Thursday, with Gonzo having a cup of tea, where we'll be discussing all the transfers that we've just discussed. We want to know your opinion. You can do that on the forum at hammerschat.com or below in the comments. So you can let us know on your opinions on Reece Burke going out to Bolton for 5 months, along with Josh Cullen. 2 separate transfers, so you might have 2 different opinions depending on the players. Also, do you think we should replace Feghouli, and do we need another striker like Gray, as Charlie has mentioned, or would you like a centre midfielder like Jack Wilshere, or even Ross Barkley like Tom mentioned? And we'll also be back on Friday night with Talk a Good Game as West Ham play Man City in their final friendly. That's been Charlie, that's been Tom, I've been Gio, we've been Hammer's Chat, doing another live stream on the West Ham transfers. Thank you for joining us.